Hello everyone, I'm JG and welcome back to Music Forever, where today I'm bringing you guys a brand new countdown list, this one being another 10 albums for summer. And this is another 10 albums for summer, considering I already made a list like this last summer. That was my first 10 albums for the summer video. The original video is going to be linked in the description down below, and I'll throw it up on screen here at the end of the video, so you could check that out if you want another 10 albums to listen to this summer. And like that list, this is another list that's not going to necessarily be a top 10 list. It's just 10 albums for the summer. The ordering here doesn't really matter, just like it didn't really matter in the first video. So if you want to, check out any of these albums, I'm not necessarily saying that number 10 is worse than number 1 or anything. And considering that some of these albums are, very different in terms of their genre and feel, pick out whichever ones you feel like would be good for you based on the descriptions I give. It's also just my own personal opinion. So if you happen to think that some of these albums aren't good for the summer, you think that they're not all that summery feeling to you, maybe one of them reminds you of a different season more, that's perfectly okay. But, these are just 10 albums that I happen to listen to a lot during the summer. And with that said, I think it's time I get into my number 10 pick. To start off at number 10, I have Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Last year on my list, I included the group's album By the Way, which, while I still prefer that album to this one, this is still a fantastic project and a fantastic summer album. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are such a summer band, really. I feel like any of their albums could make a list like this. Californication in particular mixes some more energetic and funky cuts like Around the World, Parallel Universe, and Get On Top, with slower, more mellow moments like the popular title track and Other Side. Many people are more familiar with the more mellow moments of this project, yet there's also a variety of fun, upbeat tracks that often I feel are a bit underrated, and lots of people end up missing just because they're listening to the hits on here. Not that the hits are bad, but the underrated tracks on here are also great as well. With both these types of songs on the album, there's a track on here to appeal to really every aspect of summer, whether it be going on a road trip with friends, being out swimming in the water, or maybe having a nice relaxing day at the beach. It really is a great project. Make sure to check it out. Next up at number 9, I have American Candy by The Maine. This is a pop rock album that is, I guess you could say, a bit sweet. For the most part, it's full of more upbeat jams that perfectly match with the mood of the season and just leave a smile on my face every time I listen to it. There are some more introspective and downbeat moments on here as well that you might not think match up well with the sunnier feeling of some of the tracks on here and just summer in general. However, these tracks are still enjoyable in their own right. Just because it's summer doesn't mean that you can't be a little bit introspective, I guess is all I'm trying to say. I mean, I included After Laughter on last year's list, so why not some of these, even if they do feel a bit more, sad and introspective. But overall, this is a fun album that if you're looking for a good pop rock album to throw on this summer, needs to be checked out. Plenty of catchy choruses that you'll want to sing along to only after a few listens, and just an overall fun time. Seriously, this thing was only released in 2015, and I found myself returning to it so much even to this day, especially in the summer. It's a must listen to. Next up at number 8, I have ATLiens by the Southern hip-hop duo Outkast. This is an album that takes Southern hip-hop and adds a bit of an alternative edge to it. The results are a fantastic release that, at least in my own opinion, still sounds pretty modern after about 2 decades. Even though I'm not from the South, this release reminds me of summer because summer is hot, and the southern part of the United States is also hot. It's really that simple. I mean, I go on vacation to, Florida or something. I mean, that's in the South, so, not Atlanta, but close, I guess. Overall on this thing, Andre 3000 and Big Boy provide some great flows, thought-provoking lyrics, and some earwormy hooks, all over an interesting selection of beats, and I mean interesting in the best way possible. While the production maintains a southern feel to it, there's a certain progressive sound to it that just makes this album stand out, and it still makes it sound very modern in 2018. Like I said earlier, it doesn't sound necessarily like it's from the 90s. It's a great listen and very much worth your time, especially if you like the southern hip-hop in general. It's a must listen to. At the number 7 spot on this list, I have a relatively new album. It's the newest from Tupperware Remix Party, Together Through Time. This project was only released back in May, but it's quickly been added to my summer rotation as it fits perfectly with the season. Like I mentioned in my review, this album is very upbeat, but not in a way where it begins to feel cheesy or corny. It's an album where the positive message leaves me with a smile on my face after every listen because it's so genuine and not forced. Similarly, the album's mix of rock, funk, and electronic elements creates a unique and pleasant sound that perfectly soundtracks your summer day at the beach or wherever you like to go this time of year. Whether it's the energetic Phantom Racer featuring the Proto Men or the infectious hook on Life Party, this album delivers a fantastic experience, and it's a must-listen to as far as albums released this year go. At number 6, let's stay on the topic of recently released albums with the newest from Gorillaz, the Now Now. Like Together Through Time, this album has recently joined my summer rotation as it has a very laid-back feel that perfectly fits in with the summer atmosphere. All the songs on this album are very chill, but not to the extent of being dull, and the album never really feels like it's dragging. The album also has a very funky vibe present in tracks like Hollywood and Kansas among others. The funky bass line on these tracks provide a very upbeat feel, appropriate for the summer. This is the kind of album that I can see being played while on a long road trip across the highway on a cloudless summer day. Check out my review of the album if you'd like to see my further thoughts, but regardless, it's a keeper. At number 5, I have Green Day's Warning. This album saw the pop-punk legends move into new territory with a sound driven more by acoustic guitars. The results are an album that maintains Green Day's clever songwriting and interesting lyrics, while providing more upbeat instrumentals, perfect for an upbeat time of year. While this album isn't necessarily cheerier in terms of its lyrics and its subject matter, this doesn't hold back the more peppy instrumentals. For example, the title track, while having lyrics about questioning authority, has such a happy-sounding guitar part that I can't help feel like this is the perfect kind of song to soundtrack a summer day or something like that. While generally I think pop-punk is a perfect genre for the summer, if you're looking for something pop-punk but also a little bit different, check out this underrated album because I think it will definitely scratch those itches you have for something maybe a little bit different. Moving into my number 4 pick, I have Purple Rain by Prince. This is a legendary album. If you haven't heard this album, you need to go do so right after this video is done. Like, regardless of whether or not you're watching this video in the summer. I mean, it could be the middle of the winter. You have to go listen to this album when you're done with this video if you haven't heard it. It's a legendary album. It mixes pop, rock, funk, many other sounds in order to create a very diverse yet coherent experience. For some reason, it just happens to remind me a lot of summer. I don't know, maybe it's the more upbeat tracks that we get on here, or maybe it's the fact that one summer I happened to listen to this album a lot. I mean, regardless, I think it's an album that fits the season nicely. There's not much else I can really say about it that hasn't been said before, considering it is a classic album. Just listen to it, like right now. Like, if you left this video to listen to this album right now, I would not be mad at you. I would be perfectly okay with that. But yeah, listen to it. Alright folks, at number 3 I have Mad Villainy by Madvillain, a collaborative project between MF Doom and Madlib. Madlib providing the majority of the production on here, while Doom provides the majority of the rapping, though they do occasionally change that up. This album is often considered a hip-hop classic, and with good reason. This thing is filled with incredibly creative beats that are simultaneously extremely relaxed. Doom's flows are complex, yet he delivers them with such ease and in such a calm manner that it comes across as almost being effortless. A fantastic example of this would be the track Accordion. It features a beat utilizing, of course, an accordion that is very mellow yet not dull. It also has Doom delivering some fantastic verses with his complex yet effortless sounding flow. It's a classic album and a great one for this season. Check it out. At number 2, I've picked Life's Not Out to Get You by Neck Deep, a newer pop-punk album having only been released back in 2015. This album is filled with some of my favorite, more straightforward pop-punk released in recent years. Pretty much every track on here is filled with infectious hooks, catchy riffs, and most importantly, a ton of energy. If some of the more lethargic picks on this list don't quite suit you, this is the album for you, as it's an energetic listen from start to finish. As I alluded to earlier, I feel like pop-punk music is a great genre for the summer, as it's typically just a very fun genre that doesn't take itself all too seriously. And summer is, pretty fun and carefree, I guess most would say. Considering this is some of the finest pop-punk made in recent years, well, you put 2 and 2 together. It's a perfect pick for the summer. Alright guys, at my number 1 spot, I have Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Most people are probably familiar with the title track from this album, but I guarantee you the rest is worth a listen if you haven't done so already. This album flows together very nicely, creating one big, calming piece of music. Essentially, this is the perfect album for when you need some music to just relax to. Maybe out on the beach or something. given that it is summer after all. The spacey feel of this project matches the lackadaisical feel of the season, so if you only know this project for its title track, which is a fantastic song by the way, I do love that song, I'm not trying to say I don't, but regardless, you need to hear this project in full. It is very much worth a listen, and it does have a very, relaxed mood that is perfect for summer. Great album. Alright guys, that was my list. Another 10 albums for the summer. Like I said earlier, this wasn't necessarily in any particular order, and if you want more summer albums to listen to, I made a video last year that was pretty much the same topic, but just with 10 different albums. And like I mentioned earlier, that's linked in the description down below, and will be up on screen here at the end of the video. You can click on that, and it will take you to that video. But yeah, summer, great time of year, tons of fun. I know I'm looking forward to listen to some of these albums as the season progresses. I already have listened to some of these albums a lot, given that it has already been summer for a while now. But yeah, these are just some great projects for the season. I hope that you're going to check some of them out. In fact, if you happen to like any of the picks I have here, or if you have some summer albums of your own that you'd like to share, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. In fact, I greatly appreciate seeing some, because, if I haven't heard them before, maybe I'll check them out, because, as I always say, the more music, the better, unless it's bad music, then that's not the case. But yeah, this is just my own list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below some of your summer albums, and leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more music-related content, and stay golden!